The room was cold. The lights were low. Small metal cages lined the walls, each one holding a living creature. Some were shaking. Some were crying. Some had no tears left. In the last cage, near the dark corner, sat a young alien woman. Her skin was soft silver. Her eyes were glowing blue, but they looked tired. She was not crying. She had learned not to. Her name was Alara, but nobody called her that here. The people in this place just called her Number 276. A loud voice echoed in the hall. Lot 276 female, clean, quiet, beautiful, perfect for company. Rent for fun, no strings. Alara stood up as the cage door opened. Her thin hands were shaking, but her face showed no fear. She had been rented many times before. She knew how to walk, how to smile, how to stay quiet. They dressed her in a soft blue robe and placed a silver tag around her neck. The tag didn't say her name, it just said rental. The hall outside was filled with strange alien beings. Some laughed. Some drank. Some pointed at the rentals like they were toys. Alara walked with the guard, her eyes looking down. But then something happened. She looked up and saw a human. He was tall, quiet, and looked angry. His name was Jace. He was not laughing like the others. He was not drunk. He was just standing there, staring at the rentals. His jaw tightened, fists clenched. He had come to this planet for something else. He had not planned to be in this place, but now something had pulled him in. Ilara's eyes met his for a second. Just 1 second. But it was enough. The auctioneer shouted again. Lot 276, rent her now, or lose the chance. 1 hour, 1 credit. A drunk alien noble raised his hand. I'll take her. Alara felt cold inside. Another night, another empty face, another fake smile. But before the noble could touch her, Jace stepped forward. I'll take her, Jace said, loud and clear. The room went quiet. The auctioneer laughed. Sorry, human. You're too late. She's already rented. I don't want to rent her, Jace said. I want to buy her. Now the room really went silent. The drunk noble stared. You can't do that. She's not for sale. Jace didn't look at him. He looked at the auctioneer and placed a small metal case on the table. The case clicked open. Inside were military coins, rare ones, valuable ones. The auctioneer raised an eyebrow. That's a lot of money. She's not a toy, Jace said quietly. She's a person. Alara was still standing there, confused. She had never heard words like that before. The auctioneer looked back and forth. Then he nodded. Fine, she's yours. Jace walked over to Alara. He didn't touch her. He didn't smile. He just looked her in the eyes. What's your name? He asked. Alara didn't answer. He waited. Still nothing. It's okay, he said. You don't have to speak. Not until you want to. They walked out of the hall together. The guards didn't stop them. The crowd stared, whispering. No one had ever bought a rental before. Outside, the night was quiet. Stars filled the sky. Jace opened the door to his small ship and helped her in. Inside, Alara sat in the corner, silent. She was waiting for the command, waiting for him to take what he wanted, but nothing happened. He just handed her a blanket. You can sleep here, he said. There's food in the drawer. No tricks. Alara didn't move. Jace sat down on the other side of the room. He didn't speak for a long time. Then he said, I was a soldier. I saw too much. I hurt people, but I never thought I'd see this. He looked at her, his eyes soft but tired. I don't know who you are, he said, but I know you're not a thing. Alara looked at him for the first time. Someone had said those words, not a thing. She wanted to believe it, but she was still afraid. She pulled the blanket close and closed her eyes. And for the first time in many nights, she didn't feel completely cold. Outside, the stars kept moving. Inside, 2 souls, 1 human, 1 alien were now on a path that neither of them could see, but it had started, and it would change everything. Elara did not sleep that night. The stars outside the ship were still silent, peaceful, but peace was not inside her. She sat in the small corner of the cabin, wrapped in a blanket, her eyes wide open. No chains, no guards, no walls, but still she felt trapped. She kept watching the man who had bought her, the human, the stranger. He was sleeping in the pilot chair, not beside her, not near her, just there. Arms crossed, eyes closed, breathing steady. She didn't understand him. Why had he bought her? What did he want? Every man who had rented her before had wanted something. Some wanted fun, some wanted control, some just wanted to hurt. But this one, Jace, had done nothing. No orders, no touch, no cruel eyes, just silence. Morning arrived slowly. Alara stood up quietly. The floor of the ship was smooth. Her bare feet made no sound. She walked toward the door. It was open. Freedom. She looked outside. A quiet planet station. No guards. Number 1 watching. She could run. She took 1 step, then another. But then, go ahead, a voice said behind her. She froze. It was him. Jace. He was awake, still in the chair. If you want to run, I won't stop you. Alara turned slowly. His voice was calm, not angry, not sad, just tired. I didn't buy you to keep you, he said. I bought you so no one else could. Alara didn't move. Her eyes narrowed. Jace stood up and walked to a small drawer. He pulled out a packet of dried fruit and water. He placed it on the table. Eat something, he said. You look like you haven't eaten in days. Elara looked at the food and back at him. Was it a trick? He sat back down, said nothing more. Finally, slowly she stepped back inside. She sat near the wall, not too close, not too far. She picked up the water, opened it carefully, took a sip, clay on rail, then the fruit. Sweet, soft, not drugged, just food. She hadn't tasted real food in months. She looked at him again. Who was this man? A few hours later, they were flying through space. Elara sat in the co-pilot seat. She didn't ask, he didn't tell her, but she was there. Jay spoke again, calm/soft. You don't have to tell me anything, not where you're from, not what happened to you. Elara looked down. He continued, but if one day you want to talk, I'll listen. She turned toward him slowly, her lips parted. I was taken, she said, voice small, long ago. I don't remember my home. Jace didn't interrupt. They trained me to smile, to obey, to be quiet. Her voice shook. If I cried, they hurt me, so I stopped crying. Jace's jaw tightened. He looked away. Elara stared at him. You're not like them. He gave a short laugh, almost bitter. I used to be worse. She tilted her head. I was a soldier, he said. I killed aliens. For years we were told they were all threats. Do you still believe that? She asked. He looked at her. No, he said, not anymore. Later that day they landed on a quiet moonbase, a safe zone. Elara walked beside him through the station. People looked at her, some with curiosity, some with disgust. She lowered her head. Jace noticed. They stare because they don't understand. He said, they stare because I'm not human. She whispered. He stopped walking. You're not a human, he said, but you're a person. Elara looked up at him. His voice was honest. No one had ever said that to her. He led her into a small, clean room, a place to rest, a place with real walls, real blankets, a window that showed the stars. This is your room, he said. You can lock the door if you want. No one will enter without your voice. She stood in the center of the room, frozen. This is mine, she asked. He nodded. Only yours. She didn't cry, she didn't smile, but something small and quiet began to move inside her, something she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. That night, as she lay on the soft bed, Elara stared out the window. She remembered the first time she had seen Earth in a picture, a blue world, full of life, full of humans. She had been told to fear it, told that humans were monsters. And yet, one had saved her. She didn't trust him yet, but she didn't fear him either, and that was a beginning. Outside, the stars watched silently and far away. Someone else was watching too, a shadowy figure in a dark ship, speaking into a communicator. She's gone, the voice said. Taken by a human. Find them both. The dream came like a whisper. Elara was standing in a field of silver grass. The wind was warm. The sky was purple. Somewhere a soft voice was calling her name, her real name. Elara, Elara. But she didn't remember who the voice belonged to. Suddenly the sky darkened. The field turned to fire, and hands, cold metal hands, dragged her away. She woke up gasping, eyes wide, her body covered in sweat. The room was quiet, still hers, still safe, but the dream stayed. In the control room, Jace was fixing wires under a panel. His hands were steady, but his mind wasn't. He had been a soldier. He had seen blood, death, lies, but this was different. He looked up as Elara stepped in. She was barefoot, wrapped in a soft gray robe. Her hair was loose, her eyes were tired. Nightmare? He asked, without looking at her directly. She nodded once. Jace handed her a cup of something warm, not coffee, just something mild and calming. She sat across from him, hands around the cup. I saw a planet, she said quietly. It felt like home, but I don't remember ever being there. You think someone erased your memory? He asked. She looked at him. Maybe, or maybe I erased it myself to survive. Silence. Then Jace asked, can I ask you something? She nodded. Double quotes. Who do you think you are? Elara stared at him, confused. What do you mean? Not what they called you. Not Rental 276. Not a thing. I mean you, inside. Elara looked down at her hands. Alien. Beautiful. Strange hands. Don't know, she said. Maybe I'm nothing. No, Jace said. You're something. I just want to know what. Later, Elara wandered the ship alone. She touched every wall, every screen, every small piece of the machine. Not to escape, just to feel. Just to know what was real. In one locked drawer she found a photo. A human woman. Dark hair, bright smile. Standing beside Jace, the woman was holding a baby. Elara stared at it. For a long time she didn't touch it, but she felt something like a heavy stone in her chest. Back in the cockpit, Jace was scanning for news updates. His eyes stopped at a report. Krell Syndicate tracker found near Moonbase. Authorities silent. His jaw tightened. He knew that name, Krell Syndicate. They ran the alien trade. They were powerful, hidden, cruel, and they didn't like to lose property. Elara had once been their property if they were nearby. It wasn't a coincidence. That evening they sat together on the floor, eating simple food. Jace broke the silence. You found the photo, didn't you? Elara nodded. She was your wife. Yes. What happened? She died in a crash. I wasn't there. My son too. I left the army after that. I'm sorry, she whispered. He looked at her. You remind me of her. not her face. Just the way you sit quiet when you're thinking. Ilara gave a small smile. I don't know if that's a good thing. It is, he said. She was brave. I think you are too. That night, as Ilara walked to her room, she stopped near his door. She didn't knock. She just stood there. After a moment she said softly through the wall, "Why did you really buy me?" Jace answered from inside, voice quiet, honest, "Because when I saw you, you didn't look afraid. You looked empty, like someone who had stopped believing she mattered. There was a pause and I wanted to show you that you do." Ilara stood in silence for a long time. Then she turned and walked back to her room. Far away, in the deep of space, a dark ship moved without lights. Inside, a figure stood before a glowing screen. On the screen, a blurred image. Ilara stepping off Jace's ship. The figure spoke through a communicator. "She's alive. She's with a human. Prepare a hunter. Bring her back." Back in the ship, Ilara sat by the window, watching the stars. She whispered to herself, "Who am I to you and who was I before?" The stars had no answer, but soon the past would come looking. The ship's lights flickered for just 1 second. A short, sharp pulse, almost like a heartbeat. Jace didn't notice. He was asleep in the pilot's chair again, arms crossed, dreams dark. But Ilara noticed. She was standing in front of the mirror, staring at herself. Her reflection didn't blink when she did. It was just a second late. Then her eyes flickered, blue brighter than normal, almost glowing. She stepped back. "No," she whispered. "Not again." 3 hours earlier, they had landed on an old refueling station orbiting a dead planet. The place was falling apart, but it was quiet and unregistered. No one asked questions here. While Jace negotiated for fuel, Ilara stayed inside the ship, but she felt something, a pull, a presence, like someone was calling her from the shadows. She walked to the edge of the ship's ramp and stared into the station's dim hallways. That's when she saw him, a figure in a black coat. Not human, not alien, a shadow between shapes. His eyes glowing red through the mask. He tilted his head. She froze. He pointed at her, then at his wrist. Then he vanished. Back in the ship, Jace returned to find Ilara shaking. "What happened?" Someone saw me. He scanned the area. Who, I don't know. But he wasn't normal. He wasn't like the others. He knew me." Jace closed the door and activated the lock. "You're not just some rental, are you?" he asked. Ilara looked down. "No," she said softly. "I'm not." Later, in the silence of space, Jace finally asked the question he had been holding in his chest. "What are you?" She sat on the floor, knees pulled close. "I was created, not born, built by design. I'm part of a project the Krell Syndicate. Started years ago." Jace stared. "A weapon." She nodded. "They trained me to be useful, to obey, but also to learn, to change." "Change into what?" "I don't know," she said. "But sometimes, when I'm scared, things happen." Just as she said those words, an alarm went off. Jace jumped up. Motion near the ship. "Something's trying to boom." The wall shook. Outside, a dark drone exploded at the rear engine. Jace ran to controls. Ilara stood still, frozen in fear. Another explosion rocked the ship. Jace grabbed his gun. "We're under attack." But then Ilara's eyes lit up. Not with fear. With fire. She stepped forward, slow. Her hands lifted, her fingers spread. The ship's walls pulsed with a low hum. The lights dimmed, then glowed white. Jace looked at her. "What are you?" And suddenly, the attackers outside stopped moving. Jace looked at the screen. The enemy ships had frozen in midspace. No signal, no life. Just still. Ilara's voice echoed in a tone not fully her own. "I warned them not to follow." Then the glow in her eyes faded. She fell to her knees. Jace rushed to her. "Ilara," she looked up, weak. "I didn't want you to see that." He held her gently. "You just saved us." "I'm not supposed to exist," she whispered. "I'm illegal. I'm a living weapon. And now they know I'm active again." Hours later, they drifted quietly in deep space. Ilara lay on the bed, resting, breathing steady, skin pale. Jace sat nearby. He wasn't afraid of her. He was afraid for her. She had just stopped an entire attack without touching anything, and now, someone out there would do anything to take her back. She woke slowly. Jace looked at her. "You saved my life." She smiled weakly. "You bought it first." He laughed. "Just once." Then said seriously, "They'll come for you now. I know we'll be ready." She looked at him. "I don't want to run forever." "Then we find a place to stand," he said, "and we fight." Far away, in a dark lab, a voice crackled through a speaker. "She's activated." Another voice replied coldly. "Then activate Unit Theta. If the human resists, erase him." Back on the ship, Ilara opened her hand. A small blue crystal floated just above her palm. A memory device. She stared at it and whispered, I remembered my real name." Space was quiet but never truly silent. The ship hummed like a sleeping beast, alive and dreaming. Ilara sat in the middle of the common room, legs crossed, eyes closed. A faint blue light pulsed gently from her palms. Not dangerous, not powerful, just steady. It was the first time she used her power without fear. Not to protect, not to destroy, just to feel it. Jay stood in the doorway, watching her, not like a soldier watching a threat, more like a man watching someone he cared about, trying to become someone new. "Why are you glowing?" he finally asked. "Trying to Sound casual. I'm trying to remember who I was before they programmed me. Is it working? Maybe. She opened her eyes and looked up. But maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe who I want to be is more important than who I was. Jace nodded slowly. Sounds like something a human would say. She smiled. Is that a compliment or an insult? Compliment, he said. A pretty big one. Hours later they landed on a hidden Earth colony, not the main Earth, but a green satellite city orbiting above it. A peaceful place, no weapons, no uniforms, just humans. Living quiet lives. Elara looked at the city through the ship's window. Families, children, music, laughter. It was a world she had never seen, not in dreams, not in memories. I can't go out there, she said. Why not? Jace asked gently. They'll stare. I'm not like them. You're more like them than you think. She turned. Why do you keep saying that? Because you laugh when things are funny. You feel pain when someone's hurt. You cry when no one is looking. That's what being human means. It's not about skin or species. It's about being alive. Later they walked together down a small market street. Elara wore a simple hooded dress. She kept her head low, her steps small. People passed by. Some looked, some didn't care. No one stopped them. She tasted human food, real food, made by hands that didn't own her. She saw children playing without fear. She touched a tree and whispered, "It's warm." Jace watched her. She was learning wonder. They sat in a small garden near a pond. Elara dipped her fingers in the water. "It's peaceful here," she said. "I've never seen a place where nothing is screaming." Jace nodded. "I used to dream about places like this when I was a soldier." She looked at him. "Why did you stop fighting?" He hesitated. "I didn't stop. I just changed who I was fighting for." That night, back on the ship, Elara stood by the window again. But this time, she wasn't alone. Jace stood beside her. He offered her a small object, a necklace, simple, a smooth black stone at the center, human-made. "What is it?" she asked. "Something my wife used to wear. I kept it after she died. I think it's time someone else wore it." "I'm not her," Elara whispered. "I know, but you remind me why I still believe in people." She slowly took it. For a second, her hand brushed his. Warm, real. She looked into his eyes, and for the first time, wanted him to see her. Not just her body, not her power, but her. "I'm not ready," she said quietly. "I'm not asking you to be," Jace replied, "but I'll wait." Far above, in a silent ship watching from space, a cold voice spoke through the dark. "She is changing." Another replied, "She is becoming dangerous." "No," said the first voice. "She is becoming free. That's worse. Should we take her now?" "Not yet. Let her believe she is safe." Back in the ship, Elara lay in her bed, holding the necklace close. She whispered into the dark, "What if I could be more than what they made me?" The ship made no sound, but somehow it felt like the stars were listening. The message came through. At dawn. Not through the regular comms channel but through the emergency relay. Old code buried deep in the system, human-only clearance, government seal. Jace read the message alone. In silence. "We know what she is. You're hiding her. Bring her in peacefully, or we come for her by force." Earth Directive 7, protection through control. He closed the screen. He didn't speak. Not yet. Elara was making tea. She had learned how just 2 days ago, the way water warmed, the way leaves changed the taste. She liked that. Small, simple magic. She turned and smiled when she saw Jace standing there. He didn't smile back. Something was wrong. They sat across from each other, the tea untouched between them. "There's something I need to tell you," Jace said finally. Elara tilted her head. "What is it?" "You're not just being hunted by the Krell anymore." Her face froze. He continued. "Earth knows. Earth. Human government. They sent me a message. They want you surrendered. They be locked away," she whispered. He didn't answer, but his silence was loud. "I thought I was safe here," she said, voice shaking. "You were. You still are. But now they've given me a choice." "What choice?" "They said if you love her, let her go. If I bring you in, they won't hurt you. They'll study you, contain you, protect people from you. And if you don't, then they send soldiers, hunters, and you know what they'll do." Elara looked down. "You're thinking about it," she said. "You're thinking about turning me in." "No," Jace said sharply. "I'm thinking about saving you no matter the price." That night, Jace stood on the ship's top deck, staring at the stars. He didn't hear Elara walk up behind him. "You really think locking me away will save me?" she asked quietly. "I don't know what saves you," he said. "I only know what might keep you alive." She stepped closer. "What if I don't want to live in a cage anymore if it's a clean one?" He turned. And for the first time, in a long time, she looked angry. "I loved the way you looked at me," she said, "like I was a person, like I had choices. But now you're doing what everyone else did. You're choosing for me." "That's not fair," Jace started. "No, it's not," she snapped. "It was never fair. Not from the moment they built me in a lab. Not from the moment I was rented out like furniture. And now that I finally feel like something real, you want to trade me for peace. I want to keep you breathing." She stepped even closer, her eyes glowing faintly blue. "Then stand with me. Not above me, not over me, with me." The next morning the ship was silent. Jace sat at the table. The necklace he gave her was there resting gently on the metal surface. She was gone, but she hadn't gone far. Alara walked into a nearby outpost alone. She placed her hands on the table. "I'm Alara," she said to the officer behind the glass. "I heard you're looking for me." Hours later, Jace stormed through the base's landing zone. He pushed past guards, past scanners, his voice loud, his eyes wild. "Where is she?" A tall woman in a black uniform stepped forward. She turned herself in. "Why?" he asked. The woman stared because she thought you wouldn't, and she loves you enough not to make you choose. Inside the holding chamber, Alara sat behind a force field. Jace was allowed 10 minutes. He sat on the other side of the invisible wall. "Why did you do this?" he asked. Her voice was soft. "Because they'll hurt you to get to me, and I've already caused enough pain." Tears built in her eyes but did not fall. "I don't regret anything," she said. "You showed me what it meant to be seen, to be wanted, not used. That's more than I ever hoped for." Jace pressed his hand to the glass. "So did she." "You love me," she whispered. "Don't come for me." Far above, a shadow ship listened in. The Krell were watching. Smiling, waiting because they knew cages don't hold power forever. She sat in silence, surrounded by light that wasn't warm. The walls of the human research base were white, clean, cold. Not a prison, but not a home, just a box with soft words and locked doors. Alara didn't cry. She had learned how to hold still. She just kept repeating 3 words in her mind. "He will come." Jace hadn't slept in days. He wasn't hiding anymore. He was building not bombs, not weapons, but a message to the humans who thought they were protecting the world, to the Krell who treated her like a thing, to every voice that said you're not real unless we control you. His message was simple. You don't get to own her anymore. Somewhere between Earth and the stars a ship appeared, fast, silent, dark as space itself. It didn't send warnings. It didn't ask permission. It opened the sky above, the base like a knife slicing through paper. The Krell had arrived. They didn't want to negotiate. They came to take back what they built, but this time, Alara wasn't alone. Inside the glass cell, lights flickered, alarms screamed. Alara stood slowly, calmly. One guard shouted, "Don't move," but she did. She closed her eyes and breathed. A wave of energy pulsed through the room, soft blue, silent like a heartbeat. The lock on her door melted into light. She stepped forward. Outside, chaos erupted. The Krell's hunter drones filled the sky. Humans fired weapons. Some died. Most just ran. And in the middle of it all, Jace landed. His ship crashed into the center courtyard. He walked through smoke and fire, plasma gun in hand, eyes searching. "Alara," he shouted. Then he saw her. She walked through the burning wind like a ghost of stars, her eyes glowing, her skin lit from within. She wasn't afraid. He dropped the gun. She ran to him. They held each other, like time had been torn in half and finally stitched back together. "I told you not to come," she said. "I lied to myself," he whispered. "I thought I could live without you." The final stand came fast. The Krell surrounded them. "Return the unit," their lead drone demanded. "She is property." Jace stepped in front of her. "She is free." The Krell raised weapons. And Alara whispered, "Then let me show you what freedom looks like." She rose above the ground. The sky turned deep blue, not dark, not deadly, just full of energy, of memory, of choice. She didn't attack them. She called something out of herself, something bigger than power. She called her true self, not the weapon, not the project. Just Alara, and the Krell one by one powered down. Their systems collapsed, their weapons failed, their ships turned to dust, not destroyed, just undone. As if the universe itself refused to let them touch her again when it was over. She fell into Jace's arms. Tired but not broken. "Are you okay?" he asked. "I'm not a weapon," she whispered. "I know I'm not a rental. No, I'm not property. You're my everything." Weeks later, in orbit above Earth, a small ship floated quietly inside. 2 voices spoke softly. No government, no Krell. Just vows. 2 hands, 1 promise. They didn't have a big ceremony. No guests, no music. Just stars as their witnesses. And 1 sentence to seal it all. "You were built to serve, but I choose you to be mine forever." And for the first time in her life, Alara didn't feel like she belonged to someone. She felt like she belonged with someone forever. Didn't feel like a cage anymore. It felt like home.